Hey TDF family, I'm Ellie, one of your admins, and I'm so glad to be here with you today. First, a huge welcome to all of our new members. You've officially joined a community that's about healing, courage, and transformation. This month, our theme is YOLO season, living louder, braver, and bolder. That means this is our moment to push past fear, shake off doubt, and take the risk we've been putting off. We're leaning into boldness, intention, and self trust all month long. So, here's what's coming up this week inside of TDF. Monday and Tuesday, we've got special guest sessions with Coach Val. Get ready because she always brings the fire and practical wisdom with it. Wednesday, our TDF approved therapist, Tommy Burrell, is leading another powerful interview. And guess what? Tommy's group sessions are coming up soon. Keep an eye out on Patreon for updates. You will not want to miss this. Thursday will be our Heart Talk segment from one of the past Heart Talks, and Friday, no live Q&A this week. Instead, we'll celebrate the wins of the week right in our group meet chat. If you haven't hopped in there yet, this is the perfect time. You do not want to miss the energy of the win fest, or what we call it. Now, Coach Brittany left us with a special challenge for October. Remember Me Bingo. The whole idea is to slow down, reconnect with yourself, and have some fun. Each square is something small but meaningful, whether it's sparking your creativity, spending time with your inner child, or choosing peace. Share your I Remember Me moments in the group me chat. Coach is doing this right along with us, And when she's back, she'll be looking for your stories. Now, for housekeeping. Anything you drop in the chat during sessions shows up in the replay. If it feels too personal, just send us an email at tdftribe@gmail.com. We always want to hear from you, okay? Now, for the announcements, here's a few things. This month, public session is happening October 21st. Bring somebody with you, share that button. Do not keep this to yourself. It's going to be good. TDF After Dark, our very last one for 2025, is Thursday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's going to be a whole vibe. If you've ever thought about hosting After Dark, please email us. Our TDF member meetups are on the way for Q4, and we cannot wait to see you in person. Also, our ambassador applications for those meetups are open from October 6th to 20th. We're looking for leaders in Houston, Miami, Chicago, Charlotte, and we're also opening co-ambassador roles in our current cities. Our last but not least announcement is the TDF Gala, January 16th to 17th, 2026. Please go grab your ticket at thedailyfix.co. All right? Now, let's not forget, Coach Brittany is on sabbatical. She's resting and recharging, but trust me, she's still watching the replay.
Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. As y'all know, I'm no longer on sabbatical, but I wanted Ellie to give y'all the announcements, okay? So again, thank you, Ellie. And I do believe we have another announcement video coming for you guys tomorrow. But to everybody in the group chat, first of all, good morning, TDF. I am so happy to see you guys on our regular platform because yesterday was crazy. So I'm happy to be with you guys on our lovely platform, the easy to work with platform, because YouTube was doing us dirty yesterday. But today is our public session day, which means that we have some new people here. Okay, we are live on TikTok right now. I'm going to go live on Instagram in just a moment. But I want to say hello to everybody who is peeping in. If this is your first time joining the TDF live stream, okay, I want to say hello on TikTok. I see you, South Africa. Okay, I see you, South Africa. Okay, y'all may be seeing me very soon, but I'm as quiet as it's kept. We're gonna keep it quiet until it's ready to release it. But hello, South Africa. I see you on TikTok. To everyone who is joining in, if a family member, if a friend gave you a link and said, hey, you got to be here, I just want you to know that they appreciate you, okay? That they love you and that they wanted you to get in on a lot of the goodness that we have going on here in the Daily Fix. So this is our time to kind of invite you guys into our morning session so that you can see what we do every day. And as Ellie said, we are live every week, Monday through Friday. Monday and Tuesdays, you guys have sessions with me in the Daily Fix. Wednesdays is when we bring in an amazing guest speaker to have a conversation with me where we talk about different things related to personal growth. Thursday is our Heart Talk replay day. So if you ever wondered, how can I watch the full Heart Talk episode? How can I see the full answer to the question? Then you need to join the Daily Fix because they get access to all of the Heart Talks contents every Thursday. And then Friday is our live question and answer where you guys get to ask me questions and I get to give you guys answers. So that is our format for the week. If you're a new member, if you just joined, hello, I'm happy that you're here. Okay, welcome. And you guys are tuning in at a very good time because we are getting ready to expand on the conversation that we started yesterday. So, listen, I don't know what all was going on. Yesterday, there was a whole bunch of stuff down. I couldn't use Canva. I couldn't use Pinterest. Everything had an error on it yesterday. But I took that as a sign and I was like, well, maybe I need to get off my laptop today. So yesterday, I actually spent some time just grounding, getting my thoughts clear on a lot of different things going on from the tour to TDF Gala, all of it. So this morning, I am here to further the conversation. Let me go live on Instagram because I'm ready to hop in, okay? I'm well rested. Okay, I slept so good. All right, it was one of those sleeps where you wake up and you just wake up just refreshed and just, whew, okay. So, I mean, that's good for me, but also it may or may not be good for you. I don't know. We're going to find out. All right. So Instagram, if you're just joining, welcome to the Daily Fix. This is where you guys get to tune in and see what I do with my tribe every morning. We welcome you guys in so that you can get an idea of what the Daily Fix is before you decide to join. We have started the month of October for the Daily Fix has been dedicated to a conversation around you only live once, right? We've been having this conversation to help our members understand that our lives are meant to be lived. And it's easy for us to get caught up in existing. It's easy for us to get caught up in survival. It's easy for us to get caught up in the expectations of what other people want from us, of how we think our lives are supposed to look. And so we get busy trying to create this life that we don't even realize that we're not actually living the life. And this is where we can have a lot of different mental health disorders and labels come in, because this is where you're going to see anxiety. This is where you'll start to see depression. This is where you'll start to see that social retreat, that isolation, because I'm in my head trying to live my life instead of just being in my heart trying to live my life. So yesterday I came back from my sabbatical. I came in hot on the tribe. Okay. If yesterday was good for you in the chat, let me know what yesterday did for you. But yesterday I started this conversation around living a regret-proof life. What does it mean to live a life where, like I said yesterday, when it's time for me to be on my deathbed, when I'm in that hospital and they are getting ready to tell me my final goodbyes, I want to be able to be in that place and not have all of these regrets about what I didn't do, who I didn't become, what I wish I would have said. And I even challenged the tribe yesterday to say some things that you know you needed to say, and you may have just been putting it off, right? Because we think sometimes we have more time than what we actually do. And so we end up putting things off and putting things off and putting things off until one day we realize we're out of time. So yesterday I was pushing the tribe with a conversation around a regret-proof life. And I'm going to continue that conversation today. So if you're ready, say ready. If you're ready, say ready. All right. again, TikTok and Instagram, y'all are tuning in. Y'all are looking into what we do every morning. So I know y'all are like the fly on the wall of the Daily Fix right now. But y'all are going, I got to handle y'all the way I handle my tribe, okay? I got to handle y'all the way I handle my tribe. So y'all are coming in cold turkey to this conversation where they've had time to get curated all month. This topic has been boiling for them. So they're in a different place to receive the conversation today. For everyone, wherever you are, okay, just know that if you're on the live today, if you just happen to be scrolling and saw my live, know that it's intentional. Know that it's purposeful. Know that you are seeing this right on time. Okay. I'm going to push you guys this morning to look at your life in a different perspective and in a different way. For some of you, it will be comforting. For others, it may be triggering. It may force some tough conversations to the surface. And that's okay. All right. All right. So let's hop on in. All right. Now, y'all know yesterday, I don't know what was going on with the stuff. So I did not get as far as I wanted to yesterday, which may be a good thing for Instagram and TikTok. So I'm going to pick up where I left off yesterday. I was talking about a few different ways to create a life that feels regret proof. I talked about avoidance yesterday, that avoidance sometimes feels safe in the short term, but avoidance will always rob you of your life being in alignment in the long term. So the things that we avoid, while they keep us in a place of feeling non-triggered, they keep us in a place of contentment in the short term. In the long term, it creates a lot of regret because I will have a lot of things that I didn't do because I didn't want to lean into the discomfort, right? So we talked about avoidance yesterday, and then we left off talking about the regret around what was left unsaid. I taught you guys yesterday the concept of completion conversations. How do I have a conversation with a person, place, or thing? Because it's not always with a person, place, or thing, where I know that if I die today, I'm cool with how I left that situation. I'm cool with how I left that relationship. I'm cool with how we ended the friendship. I don't have these things left unsaid. But also, I pushed you guys yesterday to think about the people that you love and the people that you care about. What are the things that have been left unsaid? We don't want to wait until there's something bad that happens before we acknowledge how much you mean to me, right? So yesterday I pushed you guys with a challenge, and I saw some of you guys in the group chat. You did complete the challenge, and I'm so excited for you. Okay, this is why I need an admin. Okay, we'll do it later. All right, so let's move into my next one. So yesterday I gave you guys, hold on, I'm gonna figure, there we go. Okay, I figured it out. That was just annoying me. Okay. So yesterday I gave you guys a breakdown of what it means to have a micro level regret and a soul level regret. So if you guys are just joining from TikTok and Instagram, a micro level regret is something that can happen every day, right? It's always pointing out the contradiction between what I wanted to do and what I actually did, right? So a micro level regret is I really wanted to eat right today, but instead I went and got fast food, right? That's a micro level regret. I wanted to do one thing, but instead I did another, right? A micro level regret on the surface doesn't really create a lot of cognitive dissonance. It doesn't create a lot of angst in the moment, right? But what happens is when micro level regrets compound, meaning they accumulate, meaning I got a lot of stuff that I wanted to do that I didn't do. Now I have created a whole bunch of little self betrayals that becomes an emotional weight, right? So you'll see this when people are setting out to do certain things and they want to, lose weight, or they want to save money, or they want to be more, loving in their relationships, right? And so they will set out to say, okay, well, I'm gonna I'm going to be kind this week. I'm going to be loving this week. But then you got frustrated and you was, going off on somebody on the highway. Right? And so on the surface, it doesn't seem like it's a lot. It doesn't seem like it's, a big thing, a big, issue. But as it accumulates, self-betrayal start to chip away at your confidence. So I may have felt confident 3 months ago that I could lose the 5 pounds. But after 3 months of constantly not following through, not going to the gym, not showing up when I said I was going to show up, not eating the right stuff, I have 3 months of little self betrayals that now I'm no longer confident in myself that I can actually lose the weight. So the micro self betrayals are the things that happen every day that takes me further and further away from who I want to be. And on in the moment, it doesn't feel like these are big betrayals. I just didn't do it, right? I just didn't make it happen. It was just another day that I didn't make it happen. But over time, they build evidence that maybe I just can't do it. Maybe I won't ever do it, right? So micro regrets accumulate over time. I was talking to someone at the gym, and I ain't gonna hold you. He and I were having a conversation about our vices. Of course, my vice is sugar, his vice is alcohol. And we're talking about, that we're both, like we got to get on it. We got to be serious. We got to hold each other accountable, right? And so we're having this conversation about the micro regrets. And he said something that I've said before, but it's so profound. He said, I'm tired of starting over, right? When we have micro regrets, if we want to be honest, it's the little ways that I've let myself down, right? When you get to a place where you're tired of disappointing yourself is when it will get harder for those micro regrets to keep happening. When I get to a place where I'm tired of disappointing myself, I'm tired of keep coming back to the same place. I'm tired of having to start over from zero. I'm tired of having to always come back to the same place simply because I wasn't willing to be uncomfortable. I wasn't willing to be disciplined. I wasn't willing to stretch. I wanted to fit in with my friend group. I didn't want people to talk about me. I didn't want people to think I was different. And so because I had all of these reasons to not follow through, I didn't follow through, but it creates self abandonment, right? So with the micro regrets, I always tell myself, I don't want to keep going back to step one, right? Because it got hard. I don't want to keep going back to step one because I didn't want to stay focused. I don't want to keep going back to step one because I abandoned the process. So the micro regrets, they happen every day. So you have to be vigilant every day. Where am I not holding myself accountable? Because over time, it creates a heavy emotional weight. All right. Now, the soul regrets are the bigger regrets. These are the things that when you know it when you see it. When you are committing a soul regret, this means that there is something in your spirit, in your soul that it's calling out to you to do. It's asking you to do it. It stays on your mind all the time. You think about it all the time. Anytime you have a free moment, your brain drifts over to that thing. A soul regret many times is pointing towards the things that are related to your purpose or your calling, or even finding closure to certain things that you need closure to so that you can be free, right? Soul regrets are also not living in your truth, right? You are performing instead of being your real self. That's when you're going to see soul regrets the most, when you are neglecting your calling or your purpose. You're not living in your truth, meaning you are performing every day. You're showing up one way, but that's not really who you are. And unhealed relationships. And unhealed relationships, I'm talking about the relationships that you need closure to, right? If you and your mama fell out, you need closure for that. If you and your dad don't get along, you need closure. If it's a rift between you and the kids, those are things that our soul needs closure to so that we can feel light and feel free. So the soul level regrets typically are pointing towards the places where we have abandoned ourselves in a way that we no longer feel like we are living our lives. It feels like you're watching it, right? You have stepped out of the driver's seat in a way that you're just going with the flow of life. You're not really dictating where you want it to go. You're not really showing up. You're not really giving it your all. It's like you get on a hamster wheel and you're just going, but it doesn't feel fulfilling. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel exciting. You're just there, right? And so with soul level regrets, there is a deep disconnect with yourself at this point. And this is when most people come into therapy. Right? So most people come into therapy when they are out of alignment with their spirit and their soul, and they're trying to get back. Now, listen, they don't come in and say that. They don't come in and say, hey, I'm disconnected with my spirit. Right? No one comes into therapy saying that. But what they do say, they'll come in and say, I just don't feel like myself. They'll come in and say, I just don't feel like my life is going anywhere. They'll come in and say, I'm just so depressed. I just don't care anymore. Right? What's the point? Because what's happened is they have become so disconnected from self, so disconnected from their spirit and their soul, that they're drifting, and they're trying to figure out how to stop drifting, right? So this is where, in order to minimize micro regrets and soul level regrets, we want to do a self-alignment audit. You want to do a self-alignment audit. Identify where have you been saying yes when you wanted to say no, and where have you been staying silent or in the background when your truth is loud. Okay? When we're doing an alignment, you guys, this is going to require courage. All right, Instagram, if you're just joining, welcome, beautiful people. All right, welcome, beautiful people. TikTok, hello, hello. And in the chat, you guys, for Instagram and TikTok, tell me where you guys are from, so I can see what cities are joining us today. But in order for us to do an audit, what we're looking for here is what's attached to me that I don't need. What's attached to me that I don't want? What's attached to me that I actually don't value, right? All right, Bay City. All right, I used to be in Bay City all the time when I was little. I used to have an aunt there. So when we're doing the audit, because I think what people forget is that before we can become something, I have to unbecome something. Okay? Before I can put on a new outfit, I got to take off the old outfit. So if I've been living my life out of alignment, I have to remove those things, whether it's physical things, emotional things, but I also have to remove mindsets that don't serve me. I have to remove beliefs that don't serve me. I have to remove things that I inherited from how I was raised. I have to remove everything that tells me that I can't be that thing, or I can't have that thing, or I can't do that thing, or this is how men are supposed to be. This is how women are supposed to be. All of those supposed tos that we were told we had to be, most of them ain't true. I remember when I was going through my stripping phase, and I would I would audit my thoughts. And every time I had a thought that told me, well, you're supposed to do it that way, or you're supposed to do that, my automatic question was, who said so? Who are these imaginary people who told me I had to be this way? Who said that I had to look a certain way to be successful? Who said I had to do a certain thing to be successful? Who are these imaginary people? Who are they? Right? And I got mad about it. And listen, you are ready for change when you get mad, because you realize how much you have conformed to expectations of people you ain't never met before. You have conformed to expectations of people who wouldn't pay your light bill if you needed them to. Right? So in doing your audit, you're looking for, what do I want to unbecome so that I can become? That's what we're looking for in our audit. That's what we're looking for in our alignment, right? I would encourage you, even if you just look at yesterday, look at how you lived your life yesterday and ask yourself, what micro regrets do I have about yesterday? What micro regrets do I have about yesterday? Okay. I told the young man at the gym, we were talking about me giving up sugar and him giving up alcohol. I said, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got 2 cookies at the house right now. I got 2 cookies at the house because I saved those on purpose. I said, I'm gonna go home and I'm throwing the cookies away. I don't want it. I don't want it. Right? Because I was inspired. I was like, we are on this. I came home, I threw the 2 cookies away. There's no cameras in my house. There's nobody watching me. There's nobody here to hold me accountable for doing what I said I was going to do for me. Nobody. Right? And this is the truth about the micro regret. There's nobody that's going to watch you with a camera and hold you. You have to decide for you, I'm tired of starting over. I'm tired of starting over. Yes, growth is a journey. Yes, there's ups and downs, but quitting on myself is optional. Giving up is optional. And that's the part you control. Okay? She said, send in my way. Listen, they were the good cookies too. Okay, I'm gonna move on to my next point. All right, so we have the difference between micro regrets and soul level regrets, and we know that we need to do an alignment audit. What do I want to unbecome so that I can become? All right, now let's move into a conversation that's sticky, y'all. It's a really sticky conversation because most people, when you think about when most people come into therapy or they're seeking help or they're reading the books or they're trying to change their life, most times what's pushing them into that change is either pain or grief, and sometimes both, right? Pain or grief. The truth is that most people are inspired to change after they have lost something. Most people are inspired to change after they have lost something. I would love to say that, there's a better way to do it, but that's just human nature, right? We think that we can get by with doing what's easy until doing what's easy costs us something. I can get by with doing the bare minimum. As long as I'm being rewarded for doing the bare minimum, I'm not doing more, right? If I had a 6-pack just from walking on the treadmill every day, I would happily walk on the treadmill every day. I wouldn't be lifting weights. I wouldn't be eating right. I wouldn't have to do those things because I was able to be rewarded from doing the bare minimum. It's human nature, right? So most times when we are encouraged to change our lives, we have lost something. And this is the call of action that I have for you guys today. We have to allow ourselves to be pushed into change before the grief hits, before I lose something I love, before I lose people I love, before I lose opportunities that I wanted, before I lose things that I prayed for. I have to be willing to embrace the uncomfortable process of growth without needing to be harmed or to lose something in order for it to happen. I have to encourage myself to lean into becoming better, doing better, achieving more, without the sting of what hurt me, right? This is what we call living in emotional foresight, okay? Emotional foresight, right? I've been working out long enough, right? I always use my workout journey because I think it helps people kind of understand the process no matter where you are. I've been working out long enough that I know that if I take a month off, which when I was on vacation, I didn't work out, but I did because I was doing a whole bunch of walking. But I know that if I just completely fall off the wagon, I'm not eating right, I'm not going to the gym. If I just stop, I know day 21, day 30, somewhere around there, I'm going to be deeply disappointed in myself. Deeply disappointed. Not because, of the side effects per se, but because I know I could have did it, I just didn't. I want you to think about, because that's a whole message in itself. I want you to think about the people in your life that you were upset with because you know that they could have treated you better, they just didn't. You know that they could have loved you better, they just didn't. You know that they could have showed up, but they just didn't. Think about the anger and the disappointment that you feel towards those people. You feel that same amount of anger and disappointment towards self when you don't show up for you. And it shows up in low self worth, it shows up in low self esteem, it shows up in self sabotage and self harm, right? This is what we call emotional foresight. I can foresee that if I participate in a certain behavior, I'm not going to feel good about myself. I can foresee that if I allow certain people into my life, it's going to affect how I feel about myself. I can foresee that if I don't stand up for myself and if I stay silent when people disrespect me, I can foresee that I'm not going to feel well. This is what we call emotional foresight. It's looking into the future and I can predict how I will feel if I behave in a certain way. This is how we get ahead of the grief. This is how we get ahead of the grief. I used to do this a lot when I worked with my guys who are struggling with substance abuse, right? And they would talk about how, when they were ruminating on getting high and they're like, man, but I know it'll make me feel better. And, it'll be an escape and I won't have to deal with this. And so typically when we're at an emotional crossroads and a decision point, we think about the benefits of taking the easy way. Well, if I get high, if I eat the cookies, if I, which eating cookies and getting high, they not that far apart. At this point, they're not that far apart. But, we think about the emotional benefits and we're just like, oh my gosh, I can get this and it'll feel good. And talking to them and letting them in my life and going on a date with them and giving them this. And so we think about the initial feel good. But if you have foresight to skip ahead, if you have foresight to skip to the end, and you can say, well, I know that in the immediate short term, I will feel some relief. I will feel some dopamine. I will feel desired. I will feel loved. But if I skip to the end, I'm going to feel ashamed of myself. I'm going to feel disappointed. I'm going to feel like I let people down. I'm going to feel like I let myself down. So this is where we get to the emotional foresight. Can I foresee how I will feel if I give in to this immediate pleasure-seeking behavior, whatever it is, right? That's what we call emotional foresight, okay? So when we are trying to avoid the grief of regret, the best place to do it is to preemptively walk ourselves through the full process. Don't just get wrapped up in it'll feel good. I won't be as stressed. I'm stressed. I need a drink, right? Well, cool. You're going to get a drink and then you're going to feel bad because you told yourself you weren't drinking. Remember that? Right? So this is where you, one, coping skills. All right. The more coping skills you have, the better you are at making decisions that will delay gratification so that I don't need instant gratification to feel better. So this is where therapy plays its part. I got to learn more coping skills so that I don't need those things to make me feel better in the immediate, right? But I want us to think about, as I am making decisions throughout my day, can I foresee the grief that is to come from letting myself down? Whether it's a micro regret or a soul level regret. Okay. We want to foresee. How will I feel next week about this decision? How will I feel tomorrow about the decision? How will I feel when I wake up in the morning about this decision? All right. Okay. Okay. I'm getting into the good stuff, the exciting stuff, the stuff that I be excited to talk about. I'm always excited to talk about everything. Um, okay. The next key to living a life that is not full of regret. You have to start making decisions that are memory worthy. Start making decisions that are memory worthy. This is when things shifted for me in my life, because y'all, my tribe knows me at this point. TDF, they listen. What this is our third year doing the Daily Fix. We're going into our fourth year in January. All right, we have our fourth year gala available. I'm putting the QR code up because I realized I didn't tell y'all where to join the Daily Fix. All right. If you want to join the Daily Fix, go to thedailyfix.co and you'll be able to join the Daily Fix. You'll be able to be a part of our family. We are a worldwide group of people who join this live every morning because we all got something that we're trying to improve and work on. And what I love about the work that I do is that I was always the therapist that pushed my clients to see life as something bigger, right? I know that it's easy to be here. And here is where all we see is what's hurting us. We see what we're disappointed about. We see what's not working. We see, who left. We get so micro focused on the disappointment that we don't see how much bigger life is. And when you can get that bigger perspective of life, when you can get that bigger perspective, you start to realize that, one, a lot of the stuff I was tripping about actually don't make as much of a impact on my life as I thought. A lot of the people I fought to keep in my life actually wasn't adding that much value from the beginning. Right? So you start to see life as bigger. And when I can see my life as bigger, I can get clear about what matters and what doesn't matter. Right? And this is where I had to move myself from being the person I was so committed to making the right decisions. Like for Instagram and TikTok, if y'all are just joining, y'all don't really know who I am. Okay, somebody said, "Girl, I just found you today." All right. So I left home at 16, right? I self emancipated. And from that point on, I was a grown adult. I was adulting. I was working jobs, going to school, just trying not to, I would say, fail, but it was bigger than failure, because when you're living on your own as a minor, failure means a lot of different things. If I fail, I can get hurt. If I fail, I can be in jail. If I fail, I can be a teenage pregnancy. All of these things, I'm like, you can't make the wrong decision, right? So it became a survival tactic for me to be strategic. It was a survival tactic for me to always be 4 or 5 steps ahead, because I knew that if I made the wrong decision, I could get hurt, right? So my success became a strategy of survival, right? So I was very, you know, hell bent on making the right, like, Brittany, you got to make the right decision. So that meant that I became a person who followed the checklist, right? You got to go to school. You got to graduate. You got to get a degree. You got to get a good job. You got to save money. You don't really spend money on that stuff that don't matter. My entire life was about creating a checklist that if I followed, I would be successful. The best thing that happened for me was I followed everything on the checklist. I did everything that was on the checklist. I was conservative. I wasn't out here, being promiscuous. I found one boyfriend for 6 years who was horrible, but I'm gonna be loyal to the end, right? I did all the things, and my life still, I'll say, destructed. It still blew up. Heartbreak still came. Disappointment still came. I still lost everything quite a few times, right? Destruction still came. The best thing that could happen for me is that I followed everything that I was supposed to do and it didn't work. That's when you get mad, right? For all my TDF members, y'all know I went through my angry phase because I was like, I did everything I was supposed to do and it didn't work. That's when you're put in a place where you have to ask yourself, am I living my life because in a way that I think is safe so that I don't get hurt, or am I really living my life? And this is where my hair went red. Right, I think of it like Dragon Ball Z, you know, when they like hit a certain milestone and they become super saiyans. This is when I became a super saiyan and I was like, you know what, forget it. Okay, I got red hair, I'm gonna show off these legs. All right, I'm out here. But my life became about feeling good rather than looking good. My life became about being around people that I actually liked versus people that I just wanted to choose me. My life became about being true and honest to myself, even if it meant upsetting some people. I became very rebellious. And I didn't care what people thought. I didn't care what you needed from me. I didn't care who you wanted me to be. I was going to be me. And if you liked it, cool. And if you didn't like it, hey, that's something you got to take to God. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Right? That was my rebellion. And that is a beautiful, it's a soul crushing place to be because you do feel betrayed, right? You feel betrayed when you did everything right and it didn't work. You feel betrayed and you're angry and you're hurt. And you'll be in a place for a little bit where you feel hopeless and you feel helpless. But on the other side, hear me today. On the other side, the point of that valley is to force you to choose yourself. Because before that, you don't even realize how you're choosing a checklist over your life. You're choosing people pleasing over your life. You're choosing being safe over living your life. And you don't realize it because these are the rules of survival and you've just been living to survive. But what happens when you're no longer called to survive? This is my living season. This is my thriving season. You become a new person when you come out of survival. So to create a life that is regret proof, I am very intentional about creating memories. When I'm on my deathbed, ain't nobody gonna come hand me my diplomas. Ain't nobody gonna come and say, girl, look at how much money she made while she was living. Ain't nobody gonna come and say, look at what she created. I want to be on my deathbed and say, you remember when we went and did this? You remember when this happened? Let me tell you about when I went and saw the mountains or I visited this place. I want memories that create a full life. I don't want to when you are on your deathbed, you're not going to think about what you did. You're going to think about how your life felt, right? So we have to be intentional about creating bold memories. Even if the memories are messy, it's not about it being this picture perfect life, right? It's not about it being, I have my whole take on rom-com movies, okay? Because it's not a Disney picture. I hope it's not a Tyler Perry production, but I want to create some beautiful memories, y'all. This is why even when I travel, I barely have pictures. Like I'll have to ask people to take pictures or I'll, take a few. But for the most part, I am so immersed in the experience of what it is that I'm in, that I'm just enjoying that experience. I'm enjoying how the sun feels on my skin. I'm enjoying the conversations with the people I'm having. I'm so immersed in the experience of it. And I'm creating digital mental pictures and mental memories that I hold on to, right? The thing is that we don't have to go on vacation to create these memories. You can create this memory at home with the family that you love. It's creating time to bond. It's creating time to see one another and allow yourself to be seen, right? Some of the most beautiful memories I have is when I have let my wall down to say, "Hey, see me," right? This is who Brittany is. It's anxiety provoking. It's scary a little bit, but the feeling when someone says, "I'm cool with that." That's a beautiful memory, right? So, to create a life that is regret proof, we have to be intentional about asking yourself, what memories do I want to make this week? All right, that's another call to action. This week, what memory do I want to make this week? Do I want to have a phone call with somebody I love and care about? Do I want to go experience something with somebody? Do I want to go try something for the first time? Do I want to go and learn something new? What is a memory that I want to have this week? Okay. All right, here's my last one. This is hilarious. I'm looking at my list and I'm like, girl, okay, this is where we're gonna end. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna put these together. All right, y'all ready? This is how I'm gonna take you out today. I'm gonna take you out. Here's the thing: to create a life that is regret proof, I need you guys to understand that there is no refund on your time. There is no refund on your time. That means that living in fear of time wasted, you ain't getting that back. Right? But this is also why I'm so intentional about what things I put myself in and who I allow in my life. I need you to understand that anytime you give out to people, places, and things, you're not getting it back. So if I'm giving you my time, I have to be clear about why I'm giving you that time and if this investment is worth it. The best thing that you will do is have time boundaries, right? Time boundaries, especially for everybody out here in this dating world. Ain't no way you're giving somebody 6 months of your time and you're not fulfilled in that relationship, right? I have to be clear about what experience do I want to have in my life, right? With who I want to have it with, and how much time is worth this investment. Because whatever you give, you don't get it back. So we have to start moving in our lives in ways that highlight that my time is one of my most valuable assets. Don't let indecision, being undecided about where you want your life to go or what you want to do, drag you into self-abandonment. All right? Being indecisive, that's a normal part of life depending on where you are, right? And there's ways you can work yourself through that, but understand at some point you got to make a decision. At some point you got to get off the fence, right? We don't get to straddle the fence and not make a decision because I got to move my life forward, and I can't move my life forward in limbo. At some point I have to make a decision. So we have to have boundaries around our time and how I'm spending my time. All right. The challenge that I'm giving everybody today, right? And there's a book called Die Empty. This is for me. When I talk about living my life in a way that I'm not going to regret it, my commitment and my call is to always die empty. From the moment that I started uncovering who I was as a person, I got so excited. It was like, when you're digging for, well, nobody just does this unless you live in a certain place, but you know how people dig for gold, and back in the day they would go dig in dirt, and then they take the dirt and they wash it in water and they're looking for this gold, and they would get really excited when they found a piece of gold, right? Finding parts of myself was like that, where I would get so excited about finding new parts of me that I was like, oh, look, 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 right? I would be so excited as I was discovering who I actually was versus who I was when I wasn't performing, right? I was so excited to find how all of my talents and how intelligent I was. And it was an exciting, and still is an exciting process to learn who I am. And as I started to learn who I was, I was like, you know what? I want to find out before I leave this earth. I want to know what all God put in me. What all did He put in me when He called me into being? What all did he put in me when he said, Brittany Noel is coming into this earth to do and have and be? What all? Because unfortunately, he never gave us an instruction manual. He just put it in us and said, go find it. And so I spend my life trying to find what these amazing things are, and I put it out into the world. And that is my life's call. I want to die empty. Every idea, every dream, every vision, everything that my wildest imagination has come up with to say, I wonder if you can do that. The minute that I say, I wonder if I can do it, listen, I got to do it. I wonder if I can do it. Let me go find out. I wonder if I can do it. Let me see. And I'll do it. And if I like it, I'll keep it. If I don't like it, I'll get rid of it. But I want to find out what all has been in me. And by that commitment of figuring out what's in me, this is how everything you see happens. This is how Heart Talks happens. This is how the videos happens. This is how the practice happened. Because I just said, I want to find out who I could be. And for many of you, this is going to be a place of freedom, because when you are someone who you've minimized yourself so much because you wanted to be humble, and you didn't want to trigger other people, and you didn't want people to be alarmed by who you were, and so you kept minimizing who you were and downplaying who you were, to where at some point you started believing it too. And so when you start finding yourself and you start finding who you are, you get excited about what you can release into this world, right? And you'll see that as you grow and develop, there are certain responsibilities around who you have to be, as far as, I have boundaries around what I release and when I release and how much I give and how much I pour. Because there's one thing to pour, there's another to be drained. Two different things, right? So I want you guys to get into the habit of asking yourself, what's still inside you that the world hasn't experienced? What's still inside you? Is there a book inside of you? Is there a show inside of you? Is there a talk inside of you? Is there a nonprofit inside of you? Is there a mentor group inside of you? Is there love inside of you that you have unexpressed and won't give to nobody? Is there creativity inside of you? Is there forgiveness inside of you? Is there joy inside of you? Is there a business inside of you? What is inside of you that you don't want to take to the grave? I know it's morbid, okay? I know that a lot of people don't like talking about death, but the reason why I talk about death is that the best thing that could have happened to me was working at MD Anderson. Okay, I'm telling you, the best thing. I remember one of the shocking patients I had, she came in, she and I were the same exact age. She had just gotten engaged, and they gave her a referral to my clinic. And she was like, well, I don't know why I'm here. Like, I just got, now my clinic is end of life. So she just got freshly diagnosed. The reason why she was coming was because she had a certain type of brain cancer that was inoperable. And I looked at this girl who at the time looked perfectly healthy. You would never know that anything was wrong with her. And she and I were the same age. And this is when I was in my 20s. And I said, that threw me for a loop. I said, because before that, I always thought death came when you were older. In my 20s, there was this idea, and many of us have this idea that death comes when you're older. But we don't know our expiration dates. None of us know our expiration dates. The only commitment that I made, I said, God, whenever it's my time, I want to make sure that everything good that you placed in me, I put it out into the world. I expressed it. I released it. I allowed it to grow. I nurtured it. I want to become everything you made me to be. And this is why I push through even when I'm afraid. This is why I still create even when I'm doubtful. This is why I still move forward even when there's no evidence that it may work out, because I am committed to what I could be. Don't know if it'll work, don't know if it'll stick, don't know if it'll be prosperous. I didn't do it for the hand claps, I didn't do it for the validation. I did it because I wanted to know who I was. I wanted to see how good I could be at it. I wanted to see how good something can become when I put my mind on it. There's a certain sense of affirmation and confidence that you get from yourself when you realize I am doing and being exactly what I was called to be. And that's the unshakable self that you get to when you're not doing it for other people. You're doing it because you want to know who you are. Who did he call me to be? So this has been an amazing Tuesday in the Daily Fix. If this was helpful for you guys, let me know it was helpful. Y'all know if you want to join the Daily Fix, just go to our website, thedailyfix.co. You can also come to our gala because our gala is happening in the beginning of January. Now, if you're new on TikTok or Instagram, the gala is where I release our work for the year. So every year, we have a theme. So the year 2025 was the year of expansion. And that indicated the work that we were doing inwardly and outwardly. We were expanding ourselves. So at the gala is where we will talk about what our work for 2026 is going to be. So you can get tickets for the gala at thedailyfix.co. It's here in Houston, Texas. But listen, I hope today was helpful because I know it was going to be a much needed conversation. It's easy for us to get wrapped up in what's happening every day, but we have to get into the habit of expanding that perspective because that's where we find what's actually worth my time and attention, what's actually worth my effort, what's actually worth my emotion. Everything isn't as important as it feels. There are some things that feel important that they're really not. It's really going to be okay. If that doesn't work out, it's really going to be okay if I don't make it at this job, because if we're being honest, that job stagnated my creativity. It's really going to be okay, right? And I start to see myself as something different. So, excuse me, we do our public session once a month. So if you don't want to wait another month to be in the part of the Daily Fix, then join the tribe, okay? I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning. For all of our normal Daily Fix members, I want you to do the call that I will give you guys today. I know you guys had homework yesterday, but I'm going to give you homework again today because I really want this to come home, right? In the group chat, in our Daily Fix group chat, I want you guys to answer that question. What is still inside of you that the world hasn't experienced? All right. Put that in the group chat, and I will see you guys back tomorrow morning. I want y'all to have a tremendous Tuesday, a terrific Tuesday, a tantalizing Tuesday, a tantalizing Tuesday, all of the great things. And I'll be back here tomorrow. Goodbye.